Stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Hello, I'm Earl Stewart. I welcome you to Earl Stewart on Cars, a live talk show all about how to buy, lease, maintain, or repair your car without being ripped off by a car dealer. With me in the studio is Nancy Stewart, my wife, co-host, and a strong consumer advocate, especially for our female listeners. We also have Rick Kearney, an expert on how to keep your car running right. I dare you to ask a question that Rick can't answer about the mechanics or electronics of your car. Also with us is my son, Stu Stewart. Our link to cyberspace through Facebook, YouTube, text messaging, and our encrypted anonymous feedback service. Stu is also the Spymaster Director of our Mystery Shopping Report. He dispatches our secret shopper weekly to an unsuspecting car dealership. And now, on with the show. Good morning, everybody. Well, very exciting. We're live. One of the reasons I know we were live is we were almost late to the show, and I mean almost in seconds. So that's what I love about live radio. It's, recorded stuff. It's just, it might be better, but it's sure not as exciting. So thank you all for joining Earl Stewart on Cars. And from the introduction, what we're all about. We're here to help you make your life easier. We got 3 live people, including me. I'm almost alive. We've got Rick Kearney and we've got Nancy Stewart. And the best part is we've got you. We got thousands of people out there. You're streaming us on Facebook. You're streaming us on YouTube.com. And you're listening to us live on the air. We've got a number here that we really hope you call, and you do make the show. We've got, you can almost do the show without us. We got people asking questions, and we've got people answering questions. We're just kind of like the insulation. We kind of keep the mechanics going. So we know that a lot of you are with us for a few minutes, and maybe 15 or so. But we're on the air for 2 hours, so hang in there. If you can't remember anything else, remember this, Mystery Shopping Report. We've been doing this for 20 plus years, so I sometimes get used to that. But when I talk to people that don't know us or don't know about the show, and I tell them that every week we have a mystery shopper go in unannounced and invisible, well, not quite invisible, but certainly undercover, pretending to buy a car. And she goes into a car dealership. It's a female, and we can't give you the name. We call her Agent Lightning. And she goes in and literally goes through the entire leasing or buying process. And let me tell you something. You talk about some science fiction. The stories we get, and we have one this morning between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Eastern Time is when you'll hear that Mystery Shopping Report. So if you can't listen to the show between now and 10, be sure you're back with us by 9:30, because that's when we start that Mystery Shopping Report. We tell it like it is. How many of you remember Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes? I mean, 60 Minutes is still around, but not Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, what a guy. He was one of my heroes. He would go into a business and confront the owner oftentimes, or at least the person that headed up the business, and really nail him to the wall live on television. Well, we're not television exactly, but we are Facebook.com, and we are video on YouTube.com. But our Mystery Shopping Report, you'll hear it between 9:30 and 10. Main thing is calling the show, and we've got a number here that I'm asking you to write down, please. It's 877-960-9960. That's 877 877-960-9960. And Nancy Stewart, my co-host, is sitting right across from me here in the studio, and she is monitoring a laptop computer, and every time you call, she knows it right away. She knows it whether we have a guest caller on or whether it's Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician, or me talking. She knows that we have a caller on the line, and she throws an apple or an orange or waves at us or throws a bottle of water. She makes us stop talking so we can talk to you. And we've got 5 lines. We like to keep those 5 lines filled up. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Nancy Stewart now, and she has some new information about what we're going to be doing to get more people to call the show for the first time. We have, and I thank you very much, you regular callers out there, God bless you. You make the show happen. We have people that were watching this show 20 years ago, and they call regularly. We have, it's like part of the family, but we need to add new people, and that's what Nancy's going to tell you about, along with some other things. So, Nancy, if you're ready to chit-chat now, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you.
I am not.
You're not ready to chit-chat?
Good morning, everyone.
Scared the hell out of me there.
I have to announce, first and foremost, Miss Nancy, she's caught a cold. That is not good. So we'll talk
That's our
about
autonomous car.
We'll talk about her later.
Yeah.
All of her qualities as our self-driving, the whole package that she brings to us to make our lives easier. She's a little bit, as Earl said this morning, she caught a cold.
She's a Tesla plaid with a cold.
And yes, she is. So, at any rate, I do have to mention also, Earl and I have become fans of artificial intelligence, and we're going to talk a lot about artificial intelligence and how it is going to, or maybe already has, affected your life. But what Earl was talking about earlier about our callers and our listeners, we have something new we would like to start this morning, and that is to extend to the ladies and gentlemen, first-time callers, $50 Amazon gift card to you if you give the show a call. 877-960-9960. I said the first female and male callers, and I believe that we came up with a number, Earl, and that was 6 callers, new callers.
10. Let's make it 10. Let's go crazy.
Okay, it is the third time this has changed since last night. This is what we do with our time. So it's the first 10 callers. First 10 new callers, 877-960-9960. And $50 Amazon gift card. So give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. And, I believe that I came upon some research last night that led me to this artificial intelligence topic that we're going to cover on the air this morning. Did you know that 1 in 3 car buyers are using AI, artificial intelligence? It has come to a lot of our callers, our listeners, the people that we know personally are accepting artificial intelligence. But for the number of people that are accepting it, there's consumers out there that are not ready for it. So we're going to discuss that and the huge advantage in purchasing a vehicle. I can't tell you how much, if you got on board with the artificial intelligence tools, how much money it would save you. We'll go into that also. But again, our number is 877-960-9960. And don't forget, you can text us, especially during our mystery shopping report, and that's 772-697. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, 7530. Nobody knows?
6530.
Okay, 6530. So that's
772 497 6530.
There you heard it from Rick. Not too often that I forget that. What a rush this morning. So forgive me. That's 772-497-6530. And don't forget, again, that telephone number where you can win a $50 Amazon gift card. 877-960-9960. I'm going to start the show by asking Earl a question about artificial intelligence, and that is, Earl, you've been in the business for 50, 60 years? Do you think that the dealers are ready to come on board with AI?
Yeah, they're going to have to. I don't think they like the idea, but out of self-defense, I think you're going to see the dealers that are on top of things, especially your large dealer groups, educating their employees and their customers, because AI is like the new Google. We've talked about Google for years, and most people in the world know all about Google. But this is artificial intelligence is like Google on speed. In fact, Google has become AI, but they still use their name Google. So we have our old timers out there. I'm one of them, and you find it hard to believe how fast this is happening. But yeah, I passed Rick an article a minute ago about how AI is now able to diagnose noises that a car makes. And Rick, every week, will talk to a caller, and one of the things he asks the caller, can you describe the noise? Can you describe the smell? Tell me what you see, hear, smell, or taste with the car that makes you nervous. And humans do that, but now AI is able. I don't think AI is tasting yet, but it's hearing, and I can easily see it's smelling, and it certainly can see. So
Let me finish my conversation with you, and that mention of AI and Rick. It is another benefit of AI for you to be able to differentiate between a noise and a rattle, all of those things. That's another plus for AI. But Earl, back to my question to you. Do you think that the dealers will hesitate to accept this way of the consumer? And this is who we are. We are protecting the consumer, because it will put more of a control on the dealer and eliminate taking advantage of the consumer. Do you think this will be the major reason that dealers won't accept AI?
The dealers that won't survive will not accept it. The dealers that will survive will have to accept it. So it will thin the dealers' ranks considerably. Rick?
Donovan has said, as someone in the tech industry and active in AI, he believes they are going to embrace AI and then throw it away because Gen Z and millennials are starting to reject AI. AI has this odd generational split where older generations are for it and the younger one is not that into it for various reasons.
Well, that's, if it were anybody other than Donovan, I would question that. If that is a fact, I can see where it would be a glitch. From my experience, the older people seem to be rejecting it, but again, I guess what defines older and what defines younger? Most of the younger people I know and that's not as many as most people know because I'm not young, seem to be embracing AI. So let's put it this way. In the long run, those that embrace AI are going to be ahead of the game. The consumers will be ahead, the car dealers will be ahead, the world will be ahead. AI is the name of the game. And I'm sorry, I know some of you guys out there and gals are listening to me and saying, you're crazy. Well, I am crazy, but that's what I think, and I believe it strongly.
I think that their mindset is going to be changed because our show is about the consumer. We are advocates. We want the best for them. We talked last week about the FTC. We're going to continue to talk about that and the crackdown on these dealers. And the dealers are going to really, it's going to be difficult for them to take advantage of the consumer. But the AI subject, this is huge. And the AI subject is going to include the out-the-door price for a vehicle that you were quoted. You're not going to be able to be taken advantage of any longer. And you are going to save an enormous amount of money by getting involved with AI, the artificial intelligence tool. We are going to go to the phones because we have some callers lined up, and it is about you. You make the show. Again, that number is 877-960-9960. We are going to go to Kathleen, and Kathleen is calling us from Deerfield Beach. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning. How are you?
We're well, thank you. Thank you for calling. What can we? Are you a first-time caller?
I am a first-time caller, but not a first-time listener.
Oh, thank you so much. How did you find us?
I played around with my radio a couple of times a while ago, and I found you, and I found it interesting.
Oh, very good. That's the way to do it. Well, this morning you chose the right channel station because you have won yourself a $50 Amazon gift card by calling our show.
Wonderful.
What can we do for you?
That's great. Nothing right now. I'm actually running errands.
Very good.
I'm getting ready,
Kathleen, let me ask you this question real fast because we do have callers lined up. How do you feel about artificial intelligence? If you had a chance to drive a self-driving car and it drove better than you did, would you be apt to choose that form of driving?
I'd be open to it, but I'd prefer if I had one other passenger in the car with me.
Good answer. Good answer.
Well, I just think it's a safety issue, and I'm a woman alone, and I think it would be a good idea. I would give it a shot with someone else.
I wished I could completely hear you, but I can't. But it sounded like as if that you were a little bit hesitant to adapt to that form of driving. And I say driving an electric vehicle, even though it is self-driving, it is. I would have to have another 2 hours in order to explain to you how safe it is, how better it is, and most of all, you would have to definitely stay focused. You would have, even though the car is self-driving, you would have to stay focused.
Yes.
So you're not giving up control completely.
Yeah.
So I've said my piece. I hope you spread the word on Earl on Cars, and you have other lady friends that may give us a call.
Sure.
Because we're trying to build a platform here for the ladies.
Stay on the line, and Jeremy will get your contact information so we can give you that free Amazon $50 gift.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen. Have a great weekend. Our number here is 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Please don't forget your anonymous feedback.com. We're going to go to Charlie, who's calling us from Palm City. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're well, thank you. Charlie, are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Congratulations, you just won yourself a $50 Amazon gift card. And if you stay on the line when we're finished talking, you can give your information to Jeremy in the control room.
Okay.
And he'll get that out to you.
Thank you.
What can we do for you this morning?
Well, I heard your conversation with the first-time caller, and I've also listened before to your show. AI scares me as a guy that's looking at 79, and I've been driving for a lot of years. I was in outside sales, and I don't trust AI because, as you said, there'll be other people maybe not even paying attention. I listen to a lot of talk shows. I don't watch television at all. The same news is on the radio that's on the television, by the way. And I've heard people that are actually sitting there doing their work as their Tesla is driving them to wherever. So I'd be a little bit hesitant because of that. And right now on 95, I go to Jupiter a lot because I'm a veteran and we have meetings down there. And people race on 95 now.
Yeah.
Literally racing. I mean, my God, the other day I was involved in a race and I didn't even know it. Porsche and somebody else, and I drive a Touareg and I almost flipped.
Oh,
I
boy.
couldn't believe it. You know, so I drive on the right-hand side, put it in cruise, and I'm constantly watching, constantly. So,
Well, that's
God bless America.
That's. I think you feel the same way a lot of people do, and Nancy and I both think that the fully autonomous car, it won't be here for a while, and we both drive fully autonomous, but the reason we were almost late to the radio show is because the autonomous car we were driving, acted up, and that is not safe, especially on I-95. So you hit it on the head. You are a smart guy to be afraid of autonomous driving right now. And I guess you'd say Nancy and I are on the adventurous side because we're both older too. But we drive together, and what you said about that makes sense. Having the two of us in the car, two people watching now instead of one when we're on autonomous. So we hear you. I think you represent the majority feeling right now. And Donovan, one of our Facebook or actually YouTube watchers, said the same thing, that a lot of the older drivers right now and younger drivers are thinking twice about it. Stay on the line.
And
we'll get your $50 to
Charlie,
you.
I'd like to tune in on this, conversation. At 83 years old, I never thought that I would feel as comfortable as I do driving. Pardon me?
You're a young woman. I have a friend who's 91. He was a Korean war vet. So the other thing I want to throw in there to everybody, I taught fourth grade years ago and then went into sales. But children aren't even biking. They're on electric stuff.
Yeah.
And without helmets. And, it's horrible. I mean, our world, eventually, my grandchildren will be walking around and seeing people with no legs, sticks. I mean, come on. Let's bicycle as opposed to go on electric things. Children.
About as dangerous as you can get. They're on the highway driving electric bicycles, and I'm like you, we're shocked.
I've seen that too. I have seen that also.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the electric vehicles, there's a problem with that, and it's called being irresponsible, but we don't have time to get into that. But, Charlie, please stay on the line.
Thank you. Okay.
And you can receive your Amazon gift card for $50.
My wife will be happy.
Thank you, Charlie. Spread the word. Earl on Cars. We're here for the consumer. 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And, you know, it's something, I'll put this out there, has nothing to do with anything but except me. I can't hear clearly, so I didn't hear everything that Charlie said. And at my age, my hearing aids, and I've lost 75% of my hearing. Bear with me, audience, when you do call in. We're going to go to Carla, who's calling us from Coral Springs, and she is a first-time caller.
Wow.
Good morning, Carla.
Hi, how are you?
You have just won yourself a $50 Amazon gift card. If you stay on the line, you can speak to Jeremy, and he will get your information after we're finished talking. What can we do for you this morning?
Well, I know you guys are talking about those electric cars, and it's just I have different opinions on them. Yes, I think they're kind of okay because my friend just bought a Tesla, you know, the electric cars, and I'll tell you, you know, it does park by itself, but sometimes they get confused. And I got to tell you, we have a lot. I work in the health field. I'm not going to say where I work. We have a lot of people down here in Florida that drive illegally. You know, they don't have their driver's license.
Yes.
And it's really scary because these cars, the electric cars, you know, can't always calculate when some of these people are running you off the road or, you know, turning because they don't understand our roads. You know, it's just really scary. And then there was a crash in Coconut Creek with two young kids that hit a pole and the car automatically just blew up immediately. You know, and it's scary because what happens if you get caught in the car or, you know, just, I know it's good for some people, but I just think the old way of driving, especially down here with all these people that don't have licenses, is the best way to go. Just my opinion.
That's I think you have the majority opinion, Carla, and I
That's
feel
better now that
a lot like you, Nancy and
put it
I,
on the charger.
because we're in the business, and because we have the luxury of being able to test cars and do things like that. We don't mean to say that because we're both older and we are embracing autonomous cars that everybody should look at it that way. We have embraced autonomous with Tesla. We have a couple of Teslas that are quite good at autonomous, but quite good isn't good enough when you're talking driving on I-95. And if you're almost good enough, that's a good way to get killed. So your opinion is by far the majority, and we're in no way saying that the majority people would like autonomous. I do feel that 10 or 20 years from now, that will be the case, but that's just a guess. And I won't be around in 20 years, so I won't know if I'm right or not.
And Carla,
Don't
I'm
say
going to
that.
chime
You'll
in
be around.
for a moment, if you don't mind. Because of medical issues that I have, and I am 83 years old, and I admit I have a lot of medical issues. My self-driving car is so beneficial to me to you know, we've teased on the radio about not taking your freedom machine away from you. And it's imperative that I am able to get behind the wheel and get behind the wheel safely. And I never thought I would come to this moment where I would say that self-driving is for me. I've had both my knees replaced. We don't even have time to go into disabilities at 83 years old. So I definitely, entertain your opinion about this subject, but I'm just telling you why I am driving self-driving. It's imperative. And Earl and I were teasing, my car is called, Earl named her Miss Nancy. He was teasing like she was a human being, that she's got a cold. And because she's not at 100% right now. So that's my thoughts on self-driving.
No, I think they're wonderful. What I'm saying is, you know, it's kind of scary what we have down here, you know, with so many people, you know, like I said, driving illegally, and God forbid, you know, you get an accident if this car doesn't think as fast as it should. You know, you've been on 95. I mean, they drive crazy, you know, and I drive it every day. So I think the cars are wonderful. I'm just saying, you know, it's scary for the other people that, you know, are driving. You know,
And what do you mean, Carla, could you explain that last part of what you said about them being afraid, other drivers?
No. What I'm saying is these drivers that are driving with no license, okay, and you know there's a lot of them. What I'm saying is the people in the, you know, other lanes and stuff are scared of them, and what happens if someone's in an electric car and it shorts out or does something and it can't get out of the way fast enough. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there are a lot of people without licenses. My doctor, not too long ago, I was getting up to get my license renewed, and I said that I'm nervous about it because of my age. And he confided in me that a high percentage of his patients do not apply for a new license because they're afraid they'll fail the test. So you're absolutely right about that, Carla. There are too many people out there, unlicensed drivers, and they shouldn't be out there. Thanks very much for the call.
I appreciate your
stay
opinion,
on the line,
Carla.
and we'll get to that $50 gift certificate.
Yeah, your Amazon gift card.
Thank you.
Call us
You guys
again.
have a blessed day, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Carla, and you can do something for us. Help us build a platform here for the female
I sure will.
caller. Spread the word.
I sure will.
877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com. Rick has something to share with us.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention 2 quick points. First one is she kept mentioning electric cars specifically, but electric cars and full self-driving cars are actually 2 different things. It's just that Tesla has combined those very well because they only make
a lot
electric
of people
cars.
confuse that. Thanks for clarifying that.
But there are many electric cars out there that do not have full self-driving available on them.
Most of them, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And the other thing is, to me, the self-driving cars being controlled by computers, I know we've got some horrible growing pains that are going to happen, but I envision a world where all the cars are controlled by computers and we don't have accidents anymore. I know it's a Pollyanna view of it, but I honestly believe that if we had more...
It's accurate. It's not Pollyanna at all. You're absolutely right.
I think the world would be a whole lot safer than it is.
But it's 20 years in the future, so...
Right.
Yeah, that's it's something that we, at least Nancy and I won't see. Maybe you'll make it that far, but...
I don't know about that, but to me, though, it's the idea that the first person to make a boat and get out on the ocean, he didn't have a whole lot of good chance of surviving for a long trip, but now we cross the oceans all the time. The Wright brothers put an airplane up for a few feet, and they didn't know that 60 years later, we'd have people walking on the moon.
Do we have any other callers?
We definitely do.
Yeah.
Our number is 877-960-9960. Please don't forget that you can text us also at 772-497-6530. As always, your anonymous feedback is also a way to get in touch with us. We're going to go to Dan, who's calling us, and he is calling us from Coral Springs.
Hi, Dan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Dan. Are you a first-time caller?
No, you've helped me in the past several times over the years. So
All right. Thank you for calling back.
Caller. Yes. My question, basically, might be directed to Rick. Rick, I just went ahead and purchased a new car. For the first time in my life, I got a hybrid. I got my car back in December, end of December, so I got a good price, I thought, as far as in the purchase. So now I'm at like 5,000 miles on my car as far as the mileage, and of which 2,000 of it is in electric. So what, 40% of my driving thus far has been on the electric side, and then the other 60% on the gas side. So now, seeing that I'm at 5,000 now, I have like my first appointment for a tire rotation and oil change for 10,000 miles. So my question was, seeing that if 60%, if 3,000 miles that I've driven is on the gas side, do I still hold to that 10,000 mile oil change or not?
Good question.
Yeah, my first thing is, what model did you get? What brand and model?
I got a 25 Lincoln Nautilus.
Oh, nice car. The first thing I would do is check in the glove box with your owner's manual for the factory recommended maintenance guide. And I would literally follow that like a Bible, because that's what the engineers who built that car say that it requires for maintenance. And when you go in for service, they're going to give you all kind of, well, you need to do this because it's Florida. You need to do this because it's dusty environment. You need to do this. You need stick with that book and follow that, and you will not go wrong. Even though hybrids don't run the gas engine as much, so the oil does not get as destroyed as quickly as some other cars, it's still a great idea to stick with what the factory recommends for the recommended oil changes. And most of them also recommend every 5,000 miles for a tire rotation. And the main thing that I would hurriedly comment on this, check your tire pressures often and follow that book with the maintenance. And my other advice is go onto YouTube and watch some videos for what's called hyper miling. This is actually, they will teach you a way to drive your car that will maximize the fuel economy, and your wallet will thank me later.
Yeah, and I noticed that as far as with the car, I'm averaging about 31 miles, a little over 31 miles per gallon, as far as on a mileage. So I'm very pleased with the mileage I'm getting. But I did a service plan where I got my first 3 oil changes and tire rotations prepaid, and so but it had it at 10,000 for the oil change and 10,000 for the tire rotation.
Okay.
And I had called them and said, listen, can I do the tire rotation a little sooner, like at 5,000? They said that it wouldn't be covered on the prepaid plan, seeing that it was 10,000 oil change, 10,000 tire rotation, that I would have to pay it on my own. So I was thinking of paying the extra costs for the 5,000 rotation just so that it could last longer. What are your thoughts?
I can't see that it would hurt, but I wouldn't go to the dealer for that. I would find a local mechanic and check the price on it for just a simple tire rotation. And odds are they're going to charge you a whole lot less for a tire rotation as opposed to going to Lincoln or even a Ford dealership.
Because I had called and they said it was going to be a $75 charge for the tire rotation itself. What do you think other, like a Tire Plus or Tire Kingdom, or what do you think I would probably get it at?
I'm betting you could probably find a place to do it for like $35, $40.
Okay, so I could say basically half.
Yep. By the way, Donovan, he's one of our YouTube commenters. That this guy is like an encyclopedia. He says, I believe that car is 7,500 miles for the oil change. So you might want to double check that factory recommended guide just to see what Lincoln actually recommends as the oil change interval for your car. Because sometimes the dealerships they'll set you up on a plan, and it's not their plan isn't always the best one for you. It's what's best for getting the money into them.
Okay, I'll definitely check into the owner's manual, and they said that I could do the oil change and the tire rotation at my timing. So it's not, I can go ahead and do it sooner if the owner's manual said 7,500 as opposed to 10,000.
Right. Yep. But I would follow what the engineers say, and they made that book, so they're the ones that know what they want done for their vehicle.
Dan, thank you so much for the call. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you. No, that's it. Thank you very much. You've been always helpful in the past and today. Thank you very much.
Thank you
guys.
so
Have a
much,
wonderful
Dan,
weekend.
for being part of the show. We definitely
Bye-bye.
appreciate your company. You know, earlier we were talking about artificial intelligence, and Earl made a statement about artificial intelligence and it being smarter and wiser to use than Google. At any rate, you know, if you're not on board with an artificial intelligence tool, I do have to share with you that correct pricing, inventory reviews, there's so much content that will help you purchase your next car by using AI. There is no reason why you shouldn't. It will save you an enormous amount of money. Please give us a call this morning. Let us know how you feel. 877-960-9960. We are going to go to Jim, who has been holding. Thank you, Jim, for your patience. How can we help you?
Hey, Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
Hello, how are you?
We're well, thank you. Jim, when we're finished speaking, if you'll stay on the line and speak to Jeremy, he will share with you your Amazon gift card that you won this morning for $50.
Okay, sounds good.
What can we do for you?
Yeah, I'm in the car business 40 years and listen to you all a lot. And I did punch in AI on a particular car because you were on that subject, and it gave a very fair price. So I don't have a problem giving fair prices and delivering cars. I'd rather deal with a buyer than one that's just, hanging out. So to me, I think it could be a benefit to someone that's fair-minded on both sides of the table. You're just dealing with a buyer when they're when they want good numbers. I don't have a problem with that. So I just wanted to share that.
So, Jim,
We appreciate that.
Jim, you're a car salesman, and you're saying you're honest with your customers, and you give them a good price, and AI does the same thing. Is that right?
Hey, I just want to roll the car at a fair price. I mean, you
Yeah.
get bonuses when you hit your numbers, and that's just a part of what it takes to get there.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of people that aren't like you and that are in the business. If you look at the Gallup poll on honesty and ethics in professions, you'll find car salesmen at the bottom along with politicians and lobbyists. So, Jim, you're an honest guy, and you're worth a lot of money to people. If you want to tell us where you worked, we would do that too, because people are looking for honest car salesmen, and you're in the minority, unfortunately, and you are honest with your customers, and I salute you for that. But yeah, if all car salesmen were like you, we wouldn't need AI.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Look, I just try to get to the incentives where I get paid from the manufacturer, and you got to hit a certain amount of numbers. Like you guys know that, I guess.
Exactly. You've got to make a profit. The salesman's got to make a commission because he's got to feed his family too. The car dealer has to make a profit. So that's our system, the American capitalistic system. This show is all about just not pushing it to take advantage of a customer. In other words, if I'm 80 years old and I'm a widow, and my husband used to do all the buying in the family, and I've never bought a car before, and I come into a dealership, there are unscrupulous salespeople out there that will take advantage of them. If they found you would not do that. And so
I've been at the same
you're an
place
honest
for
guy.
41 years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jim,
I want to ask you a question real quick. Being as you're seasoned in this industry, how would you feel if a potential customer came in with as much information as they possibly could accumulate from that AI tool? I'm talking about the pricing, your inventory. They just waited. They did everything at home from their PC. Maybe they went to the library, used a PC, but they became so informed that when they finally reached you at the dealership, they knew exactly what they wanted and exactly what they wanted to pay. How do you feel about that type of a potential customer?
That's a dream come true. They're ready to take a car home. I'd rather make a little bit than make nothing.
Good answer, Jim. That's
a great answer.
That's the way it should be.
Focusing, and I think, too, AI, focusing more on transparency and trust, I think it just stands above and beyond everything, and it is for the consumer.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Jim, let me say this, too. I'm so impressed that you're a car salesperson and you had the courage to call the show. Nancy and I would like to double your incentive, and we'll make the Amazon gift certificate $100 because you're in the business. And guys like you, honest salespeople, we need to find them and identify them and thank them, because we'd rather do business with humans, but we have to have people like you that will treat our customers fairly. So $100 for a gift certificate for you, and thanks very much for calling the show.
And Earl couldn't have said it any better. Your support, and if we only had the support of other people, I'll say, in this industry, whether you own the dealership, whether you're selling cars, leasing cars, renting car, whatever it is, if they would get involved with us, I think that it would be a win-win situation. And again, from all of us here at Earl on Cars, we want to thank you for thinking of us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
And stay on the line with Jeremy, and you can get your $100 Amazon gift card.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. We hope to hear from you again. Please spread the word. I'm sure you know a lot of people in this industry. 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Jim, and he is holding from Boynton Beach. Good morning, Jim.
Hey there. Good morning to you, and I am indeed a first-time caller.
Well, congratulations. When we're finished speaking,
Indeed.
You can give Jeremy your information, and he'll make sure you get the $50 Amazon gift card.
Indeed. I wish now that I were a car salesperson. I could have doubled that.
You've been listening.
But I'm not.
We don't get many of those.
So I have what may amount to an impertinent question, so I apologize in advance. But I've been a customer both by buying 2 cars from your dealership, but also having continuing service on those 2 cars for the last 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just as an example, yesterday the second car went through service, 50,000 or 60,000 mile routine service, and the bill came to $1,400. Now, of that $1,400, $1,100 was labor.
Mm-hmm.
The time that I was in your service area was 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that amounts to well over $300 per hour. And now I know that a job, for example, cleaning the injectors, maybe that only takes a good technician an hour to do, but the book says charge 2 hours. I understand how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not even complaining, because indeed, when you go to a competitor who's not a dealer, the prices are not that different. So I'm not complaining about the pricing. I'm just curious about where the $300 goes. $40 maybe to the service technician for a good one, and but where does it go? How much is for lighting and keeping things going? How much is? Can you sort of outline that just so I have a better feel for where all that $300 an hour is going?
That's a great question, and we've talked about it on the show before, but not often enough, because it's one of the most obviously crazy things to a customer that looks at it and sees it. You look at the repair order, you bring your car in for something that you were waiting for your car, so you know it only took an hour. And And the labor rate is posted, maybe you've seen it, and the labor rate is $200 an hour, but they charge you $400, and they do it in half the time that they said they did it in. I'll blame the manufacturers as well as the dealers for this. The manufacturers, Toyota, Honda, General Motors, Ford, all the manufacturers use the term hour, flat rate hour. The key is flat rate, F-L-A-T, flat rate hour. And that's the way they reimburse dealers for warranty work, and that's the way dealers charge customers like you for customer paid work. So customer paid work is charged out the same way the manufacturers reimburse the dealers. Now, they come up with this flat rate hour, they call it. It's not a clock hour, Jim. That's the key answer. It's not a clock hour. In other words, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, that's a clock hour. A flat rate hour is just something in a book that the manufacturer figured out by having technicians do a particular repair. So the manufacturers had technicians that would do a specific repair, like a front end alignment, and they would test out 100 or 500 or 25, I'm not sure. Some of the technicians would be experienced, some would be average, some would be new, because in every dealership, you have all of the above. You have technicians that are very fast, been around doing the same thing for 15 or 20 years, and you have some that have just started on the job, and you have some that are in between those two. So I know I'm going on, but everybody gets charged the flat rate hour. So if you have a guy like Rick Kearney, he's sitting next to me in the dealership, this guy has done the repair that you discussed 1,000 times. He can do something that has a 2-hour flat rate hour charge in 1 hour. So you still get charged the 2 hours. An obvious question, if I were you, why don't you just charge for the hour that it takes the technician? Well, if you did that, everybody would be paying something different. If they were lucky enough to get a skilled technician, they would do it in half the time as the unskilled or maybe the average. So, to me, they should eliminate the word hour and just say units. You know, call it squirrels, anything but hour. Hour means your watch, your clock. And so your confusion is our fault, the manufacturers and the dealers. But thank you, Jim, for a great question.
But let me the other side of that, and I'm really curious about, is the revenue. When you get that revenue of $1,100, where did it go? Some to the, go ahead.
Okay, another great question. The service advisor, who was really a service salesman, he's paid on commission. So he gets a piece of that revenue. The technician that did the repair, he gets a piece of that revenue, and the dealership gets the rest of it. So after the dealership pays the service salesperson and pays the technician, the rest goes into the profit, the net profit of the company.
Okay. All right. That's the short answer. All right, good.
I'd be happy to give you some specific examples. Rick has a comment.
There's also a whole lot of overhead, like the fact of electricity for the lights.
That goes with every business.
Yeah.
And so Rick's saying that we have to make a profit to pay our overhead. That's true, but let's face it, we charge a profit because we like the profit, because I put it in my pocket, and Rick puts it in his pocket, and Nancy puts it in her pocket. Stu just walked in, and he puts it in his pocket too.
In his pocket as we speak.
So car salespeople and car dealers make money, and we keep it and we spend it just like you make and spend your money. So, great question. And
All right, thank you.
call again. I love it when we get real calls like that, and I can answer them on the air.
Okay, ladies
No,
and
it's done
gentlemen.
very well, so thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim. Hope to hear from you again. 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. I can't stress to all of you out there to know what you can afford and take control before you walk in to the dealership. And ladies and gentlemen, as we have been talking throughout the show this morning about AI, let me tell you what, if you are ready for AI, and there's a lot of people who are not, but this AI tool, it's magical. It will save you so much money. It's going to save you on pricing. It'll get you information on inventory. There's so many benefits of an AI tool. Give us a call. Let us know how you feel. Are you ready to get on board? The dealers, well, not so much, but they are, well, they're getting on board slowly. But this is the new phase. And AI, as Earl said earlier, is smarter, wiser than Google. 877-960-9960. Give us a call. We're going to go to John, we're going to go to Howard. Sorry, Jeremy. We're going to go to Howard. He's been holding. Good morning, Howard. Thanks for your patience.
That's quite all right. I have a question about for Rick. I started my car, I took off, started driving. AC was not working. I said, "Oh my God, I have to drive to Toyota now." So I pulled over, stopped the car, and waited 5 minutes. Started up again, and the AC started working. So what caused a glitch like that, Rick?
Okay, first question, what's the car?
Yeah, it's Toyota. It's a 2017 Toyota Camry.
Okay, and was it the blower fan that it wasn't blowing any air, or was it
blowing warm air?
Blowing warm air.
Right.
My first guess right off the top of my head is I would guess that maybe the belt slipped for a few moments. When it did this, did you happen to notice on the button that says AC, there's usually a little light on it. Was that light blinking by any chance?
No.
Okay.
I would have noticed that. Yeah, I would have noticed that.
Okay, because
everything was running as it should, except it was blowing warm air. And then I pulled over, started the car again, and it was perfect. And now it's working perfectly. So, did you ever come across a situation like that?
I've seen some odd things happen with air conditioning, really odd. My first guess would be that what's called the expansion valve would have stuck just for a few moments, and when it got stuck, it basically you had to shut the car off and let the pressures in the system equalize. Basically what that valve does, it controls the flow of the refrigerant through the system so that it can cool the air coming into into the car.
There's a multitude of things that can be fixed by turning it off and turning it back on.
Exactly.
You reboot your car, you reboot your TV set, you reboot your iPhone, turn it off, turn it back on. That solves about half the problems.
Yeah. It may have even been just a simple glitch in the computer system and it didn't turn the compressor on properly.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's what I figured. Yeah, that was my thought. Yeah.
I would just drive it and monitor it, and as long as it's working good, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, one other question.
Sure.
What happens when an electric vehicle loses power on the road? I know if it's a gas vehicle, you bring a gas can and you put it in and it struggles. Does this ever happen? Do electric vehicles get stuck with no electricity?
Oh, sure.
And
so what happens?
You call a tow truck, they tow the car to a charging system, and they charge it up.
Okay. All right. I know you're busy, but I have another couple of questions. Can the lights be adjusted? the headlights be adjusted. I had a 1990 Camry. I've had Camry since the beginning of Toyota. So, the suspension was getting bad, so I had the lights adjusted so they threw a beam further out. Can a modern Toyota have lights adjusted in this way?
Yes. There are
Really?
vertical and horizontal adjustments for the headlights. They're just not as easy to find.
Okay, but it probably takes a dealership to find it instead of going to a outside mechanic.
Any qualified shop can do it.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and my last question is, not a question, it's a comment. You guys are great. Keep up the good work. Okay?
Thanks, Howard.
Well, thanks.
Howard,
Okay.
we appreciate you. You call every week, just about, and we really, as I said, appreciate you as a listener, as a caller. Thank you. 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. Rick?
Donovan says, for the caller, the same thing if it runs out of fuel, but there are services that will come to you and charge your car on the spot enough to get you to a charging station.
Very good.
So that's good news for you guys to know, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are going to stay with the phones, and just as an alert to all of you out there that are listening, we extended a gift card from Amazon of $50 for the first 6 new callers. Well, we have one more caller that will win an Amazon gift card. So get on the phones, folks, and give us a call. And ladies, please give us a call. Anything you have to share with us, especially about self-driving, about AI, or your subject, if you so choose. We are going to go to Kevin, who is calling us from Buffalo, New York. Good morning, Kevin, and welcome back.
Welcome. I'm not a first-time caller, but thank you. I enjoy your show. My motivation to get up Saturday mornings early. I have a question regarding maintenance on my car. I have a Lexus GX 460, which is the same thing as a 4Runner. And I wanted
Kevin, excuse me. I'm having a little bit of a problem hearing you.
Kind of going in and out.
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up.
All right, here we go. We'll start all over again.
Hey.
Thank you. That sounds a whole lot better.
I have a Lexus GX 460 with a V8 engine. It's the same thing as a Toyota 4Runner.
Mm-hmm.
My question is to Rick, what maintenance items I should be looking for to do this? For example, some of your longtime callers like Marty and John and Roadrunner Steve would remember lube oil and filter. I have 7 grease fittings on my drive shaft that were never lubricated before. What other things should I be looking for on my car to make sure it's maintained?
Pretty much just the oil change, tire rotation, and the cabin filter and air filter.
What kind of mileage you got now?
33,000 miles. But I take it to a Toyota dealer because this guy named Earl told me, take it to the Toyota dealer because it's $30 cheaper to have my oil changed than at the Lexus dealer. So that's a positive for listening to your show.
That's some good advice.
They would never grease it until I told them to grease it.
No, like Rick said, and not until you get to higher mileage is there other maintenance things.
Right.
They got a chain, right? Time and chain way down the road.
Yeah, it's
plugs way down the road.
Yeah, plugs on that one, I believe, are probably going to be 120,000-mile plugs. Coolant, I believe, on those is 150,000 miles. The transmission fluid, if you're doing any sort of towing with it, I would recommend, say, around 60 to 80,000 miles. Otherwise, 120 to 150,000 miles have the fluid changed, and the differentials as well. Other than that, just drive it and enjoy it.
I will, just like I enjoy listening to your show. Thank you. I know you got a lot of callers.
Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, thanks for bringing up that idea of taking your Toyota to a Lexus dealer. The same thing applies to if you're driving a Honda, take it to an Acura dealer.
Flip that. Flip that, reverse.
Yeah, if you're driving an Acura, take it to a Honda dealer. Chevrolet,
a Cadillac, take it to Chevy.
Cadillac to a Chevy. Take it to the cheap brand instead of if you've got the expensive brand. They're the same cars. They just charge you half as much.
Yep.
Rick, I have a question for you, and it concerns AI and how you feel about it. And for decades, you've been listening to rumbles and squeaks, and in order to assess, a problem with a vehicle. How do you feel about AI and their ability to do that for you?
I'm glad I'm only about 8 or 10 years away from retirement because I think I might be getting replaced a lot quicker than I thought I would. It's
fair enough. I think that most people feel that way.
Yeah, we feel the same way.
We're at the stage, I think, Rick, where you are necessary because you have to, because AI is not perfect and it's getting better and better, but you have to be able to ask the right question or to question if something doesn't look exactly right.
Only problem I see is my ears are wearing out. AI, their ears ain't going to wear out.
Yeah.
So,
And
it's...
to what Stu just said, that's very important. You can't give up complete control, and it goes back to the freedom machine, AI. For instance, Miss Nancy that I drive, self-driving. That mode that she's in, I never give up control. You have to be focused. You have to be aware of the people around you.
That's her Tesla Plaid, by the way.
Pardon me?
I want our listeners to know that's a Tesla Plaid.
Yeah, that you're not riding someone named Miss Nancy.
Oh.
I was really riding her the other
I
day.
figured by now everybody knows who Miss Nancy is. And we did announce early this morning that Miss Nancy, Earl said she's got a cold. So anyway, we had a problem with her. But again, and this all started yesterday, you never, ever give up control and focus just because you're on self-driving, or to what Rick just said about this AI app that would give him information about a roar, a noise, everything in between. We still have to say focused as human beings.
Except for I don't think we don't have that much time before it will be a total turnover. I mean, it's getting better and better. There's a point where cars will be 100% autonomous, and you'll be able to trust for important decisions AI. It's just coming.
Yeah, and you just really have to be careful out there. I deal with ChatGPT a lot. My ChatGPT is called Charlie. Earl's is called Coach. Let me tell you something. On many occasions, Charlie has made many mistakes, and I won't go into detail, but again, you really have to stay on top of things. You can't depend on all of this 100%.
No, he's a Yorkie after all.
Pardon me?
Never mind. Inside joke, everybody.
Charlie. Okay, we are going to stay with the phones, and John from Palm City has been very patient this morning. John is not from Palm City. He's from West Palm Beach. He's called before. Thank you, John, for understanding. We're moving very fast this morning.
No, I understand. That's why I'm going to keep it short. For Jim, who was sitting in your waiting room for his car, he could have voiced the car if he took an Avery label and walked around, and everything that is overhead, put a little Avery label on it that says, this costs us such and such per month, especially the big fish tank that you have in the... Do you still have that?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So if you went around and labeled everything, people could sit there, oh, okay, so that's where my money's going.
Yeah, we just think with all that, that's why we don't believe in the fees. That's why every cost of business is embedded in just the price that you show to somebody, and that's kind of like the whole reason that there's a show here in the first place. It's because that's all silly stuff. I got to charge for this because this is my paperwork. It's like you don't think about that when you buy a carton of milk, and nobody itemizes it.
The other thing is, as far as adjusting headlights, I'm sure they're all electronic now, but I remember when we bought our Tesla, the first one, we had to adjust our headlights, and we did it through the computer. And it went up, and just like we did with the mirrors, with the little scroll wheels on the steering wheel. Did the same thing with the headlights. Our light adjustment, because not everyone's the same, and that was electronically. And I don't think they use the springs anymore, do they? Like back in the 70s and 80s, the adjustment springs for lights.
Some cars still do, but bear in mind, back in the 70s, we used to adjust a carburetor with a screwdriver, and now the computer is adjusting that fuel-air mixture 100 times a second. So,
yes. All right, no, that's it for me. I just wanted to comment on those two things.
John, it's great hearing from you.
Yeah, John.
And thank you for understanding the speed that we're, rolling at this morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank
you. Okay, Marty, you're finally up. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. Hi. I just wanted to mention something. Back years ago, and I don't know if they still do it now, but in New York State, you had vehicle inspections. Yep. And one of the biggest rip-offs was your headlights need adjusting. So when you pulled in, all these gas stations had, bays, maybe one or two. They took your car in there and said, they charge for the inspection and then charge $15 or $20 to get your headlights adjusted.
I wish they still did that.
Yeah, you didn't know what they were doing.
No, I wish they did it because I'm tired of getting blinded by headlights every night.
Yeah. So to me, that seems like something that the manufacturer should make, that it has to be in line and it has to stay in line. But,
Rick, is that something kind of like along the lines of an alignment? Like it's a maintenance thing that no matter what, like if a manufacturer had a rigid, non-adjustable headlight that couldn't change and it was at the perfect fixed angle to the road, why wouldn't they build it like that?
Yeah, well...
I was asking, Rick.
It's money-making. Everything,
it's pretty hard to build a headlight that is fixed when you hit a post or a,
Well, no, that's true. That's true if
you take it to the body shop and you gotta fix it.
Well, like our earlier caller mentioned, is the idea that as the suspension in front of the car starts to weaken a little and drops down a little, that's going to change the angle of the headlights.
Okay.
And a minute adjustment at that headlight is going to change where it's aimed anyways. And the big problem we see is the newest cars, they're getting so much bigger, trucks and SUVs, the headlights are much higher, and they're using LED headlights that are more intense, focused beams. So unfortunately, if you're driving a sedan or anything small, they're aimed right into your mirrors anyways.
Yeah.
I feel bad about that when I drive my giant truck.
You should.
But all I'm saying is it was in those days, I haven't been back there for 20 years, but in those days, there was just more money making, and they ripped you off.
Yeah. I do remember they were doing the inspection still for emissions when I started in the business in the 90s. I don't remember exactly when they ended it. But that was a big deal. We had cars that came in, they had to go to inspection.
About a third of the states still do, but Florida and most states stopped it. Yeah.
Right, and Florida primarily had it for emissions.
Yeah.
We only had it in certain counties, but then once we attained those air quality emissions levels again, then they were able to stop doing the emission standards.
Well, the dealers loved it because it would get them into the service department.
Oh, yeah.
They had to come in, and they'd come in for something minor, and we dealers could sell you $1,000 worth of stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to
dealers. You dealers.
To what you just said, Earl, that is one of the biggest complaints from the ladies that call me and talk to me. They're going in for service for something minor, and suddenly they're being sold half a dozen different things. And you really must be careful, ladies. Stay in control. Do your homework. Tell that technician you want what you want done. Just exactly what you came in for.
Like going
Unless
into...
they're saying your brakes do not work and you will die when you drive off the lot.
It's like going into a dentist who cleans your teeth and then says, I need to remove 4 molars.
I think in both of those cases, you should agree. Maybe get a second opinion on the molars. If you're going to, are they actually going to die?
I got one question for Rick.
You guys,
It's not far off, Stu. There is some drastic.
You're right.
There's some drastic
scare tactics.
Question for
scare
Rick.
Tactics.
Real quick, when you and Stu get through arguing, question for Rick.
If you need a new battery in a car, the dealership charges the most for a battery. Does it make any difference if you get the battery at AutoZone or Walmart?
Check Consumer Reports for the best rated batteries and purchase that one.
Mm-hmm.
And your owner's manual. Your owner's manual is a Bible.
Or it might save you time if you tell the dealer when he says, I'm going to charge you twice as much on this battery, you can say, I checked AutoZone and I can have a good battery put in for half of that, and then give the dealer a chance to meet the price. I mean, it'll save you a trip over to AutoZone.
I can have one delivered here by AutoZone in 5 minutes for half the price.
But in other words,
good point.
You don't need the original type of battery.
No, you don't. You ought to have an approved battery, something that would be, Consumer Reports would say is a good battery. You don't want to put in something that they wouldn't recommend.
Okay. All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Always nice hearing from you, Marty. We are going to stay with the phones, and we're going to talk to Carlos, who has been patiently holding. Good morning, Carlos.
Good morning.
And Carlos, how did you find us? You're a first-time caller.
I heard you on the radio. I was listening to NPR, and then I got you.
Oh, okay. So you were sort of surfing around. Carlos, you have won yourself a $50 Amazon gift card this morning for being a first-time caller. Spread the word. We're here for the consumer. We are advocates. What can we do for you this morning?
I don't know. Maybe I wanted to share my feeling about AI. I think it's a great thing. I have I'm starting a business here with AI. So my outlook for AI is very positive. So I was wondering if anybody has any experiences already that they have started doing something with it and they had a bad experience.
I don't know of any personal stories of bad experiences yet. I've read some things, in the media about people who've gotten have fallen in love with their AIs or convinced them to do crazy things. But no, right now I think there is a whole lot of opportunity for some great things to happen, and there's some things to worry about.
Nancy and my bad experience with AI is with our Teslas, and we have 2 Teslas that are fully autonomous. The other day, we took Nancy's Tesla, the Plaid, and the autonomous was not functioning. And I've got arthritis in my shoulders. Nancy has a similar
Here's our medical records.
Problems. Yeah. So when you drive a car and you have to use your arms and you have severe arthritis, it's not fun. When we returned from our trip, the software glitch in our fully autonomous Tesla Plaid was miraculously cured. It was like a reboot. When we stopped the car and started it again, the fully autonomous came up. And we commented to each other. I was driving back. She drove where we were going, and I was driving back. And the fact that the autonomous was working was such a pleasure because of I never realized, because we've been using it fully autonomous for so long, how much easier and safer. One example, we pulled out of a parking lot onto a 6-lane highway. And on the way, pulling out without the autonomous, it was very scary. And on the way back, pulling back on the same highway under fully autonomous, it was so much easier and more efficient. Autonomous with 8 cameras was able to negotiate a smooth, safe entry to a 6-lane highway much easier than Nancy and I could have done by ourselves. So
much safer.
Much safer.
And it was taunting when I was driving the Tesla Plaid, and self-driving just, it closed down on me. I was very aggravated, annoyed, but I still had to stay focused because I had to take over. And as Earl said, you think that the yoke is, the yoke is in the Tesla Plaid. That is the steering wheel. It's called a yoke. It's a half of a steering wheel. How difficult it was for me to maneuver that yoke with all my medical conditions at my age. So as annoyed as I was to what Earl just said, with him driving back and Miss Nancy taking control and doing a pretty damn good job, my annoyance that I felt was quickly dissipated. Okay, we are going to go to John in Palm City. Good morning, John. Thank you for holding. Can we help you?
Hey, John.
Yes. Good afternoon. Morning. I just have a fast question for Rick. Earl and I grew up with rear-wheel drive cars. There wasn't really no maintenance. You didn't check you could check the rear end with an inspection with the fluid, but there really was nothing to do. Maybe once in a while you might have needed universal joints. But 66 started front-wheel drive with also Bill Tornado, but it was nothing new because Cord had it back in the 30s. Question to Rick is, you don't see it in the owner's manual, but what maintenance is really required on the cars, which mostly all of them have, on the front-wheel drive? What is actually necessary to check or change, front boots or whatever you might call has to be done? You won't see it in the owner's manual, though.
Front-wheel drive cars have a transaxle, which is the differential and the transmission all in one unit, and 99% of them use the same fluid throughout that entire unit. So the transmission fluid is actually the maintenance when it is needed. However, all-wheel drive cars also can have a front differential built into the transaxle, a center differential, and the rear differential. So those would also need separate maintenance, and those are covered in the the manufacturer's recommended maintenance guide for servicing those.
All right, there's the answer on it. But technically, I'm just against, here in Florida, I don't really think that we need the four-wheel drive, but that's just my opinion. Mainly for north, and also in the north, the front-wheel drive is so excellent when you're driving in snow. It's a miracle, the difference between a front-wheel drive car and a rear-wheel drive car when you're driving in a heavy snowstorm. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. However, all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive is actually the better option, really, because it gives you the best of all the worlds. When we have a good storm down here in Florida and all those little tree branches and leaves are all over the ground and it's wet and slippery, all-wheel drive is going to make a big difference in the safety and handling of that car.
Excellent. Good advice. Thank you again. I won't hold you. I know there's a lot of callers.
Thank you, John.
Hey, John, thank you. We hope you really enjoyed the show this morning.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have a lot to share with us as far as AI is concerned.
Yes, that's for another time.
Yeah, John, we have plenty of time right now. I would like to get your opinion. How do you feel about what we were discussing earlier about AI?
Well, I'm even a little older than Earl, and I have skeptical feelings about it with the safety. I think it needs to be perfected a little further, and then I think it's, for the future, everybody's going to have it. And right now, the small idiosyncrasies that are out there, I just question that it has to be a little longer perfected and engineered. That's the way I feel about it.
And my opinion, as I shared earlier, because of my age, and I'm well into my 80s, and medical issues, I really rely on the self-driving of my Tesla Plaid. And also, very focused and not giving up control is very important to me. Do you think that there will be more of our callers, listeners, that will get on board with AI because of that? Just
Absolutely.
One of the many features.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Okay.
For sure. By the way,
and Rick has a question.
Yeah,
okay.
This one from Quadrajet just asking about self-driving cars. He says, how good is self-driving when it's raining or when there's fog? Will the self-driving work?
Well, that is a bit of a problem. It isn't as efficient, let's put it that way.
You get a notice comes up and says, be prepared to take over because of the weather conditions.
Yeah, it will disengage.
That's a very good question.
So, yeah, that is a great question. And there is, on some occasions, that happens. And that is all part, and I might sound a little crazy because I'm emphasizing staying in control. Just because you're driving a self-driving car, you don't give up control. You've got to stay focused. And if it begins to rain, you better be very focused because all the features of the self-driving car just may disengage.
Incidentally, if you have another minute, I went with my neighbor. He renewed his license. What he was worried about, the reason for the failure of seniors like myself, is the eye test.
Yeah.
That's very important. And I do notice, though, there's something brand new. It started the first of the year. People that like to celebrate the 250th anniversary, it's available at your local tag agency. You change your plate to a 250th anniversary license plate, cool. And it lasts 10 years, and naturally renew it every year or 2 years. But it's available right now, and it's a nice remembrance. Like when I was in World's Fair in 1964, New York State had right on the license with no extra charge, World's Fair. Yeah. And I think it's a nice vanity plate for people to get. It's available now.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Make sure
information.
our title clerk knows that.
I haven't seen one yet, but they're available.
Cool. I remember the 1976 bicentennial.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. It was young.
Right.
We were young. Rick and I were young.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Great hearing from you, John. Have a great weekend.
I remember touring the 1976 bicentennial train that went throughout the nation.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
That's remember. Yeah. Good times.
Very good times. Okay, we are going to either go to Stu or Rick.
Yeah.
We're going to look at some texts, some your anonymous feedback, some things from Facebook with Rick.
Real quick before we get to that, if there's time, I just want to ask if you guys had read anything about Project Glasswing.
Say that.
Project Glasswing.
Glasswing, no.
Okay, you know the AI company Anthropic, the one that was banned by the Pentagon. They're working on coding, and they have their AI model Claude, and it can code. As a matter of fact, it's already replacing jobs of like programmers and coders. Well, there's a new edition of it that came out that alarmed them very much. Not only can it write code better than anything, it also was able to discover extreme vulnerabilities in any software it looked at, including every operating system used by people on Earth, every browser, Chrome, Safari, Windows, everything had these very severe vulnerabilities. So they created a consortium called Project Glasswing, and they've brought Google, Microsoft, Chase Morgan, all these other big companies to patch these vulnerabilities that they discovered.
Cool.
Because they said this is the type of thing that a child, if it fell into their hands, would be able to get into any system, any government, any corporate system, and they're trying to.
It's funny you should mention that because I asked ChatGPT, which is my AI of choice, who I affectionately refer to as Coach. I said, Coach, if I needed a backup AI, who would you recommend? And he recommended Anthropic, Claude. And he says that really, the cool thing about, you'd think he'd be a little jealous that I was thinking cheating on him, but he says Claude is really very good about a lot of things that I can't do.
Well, I want to, because I've used both of them, and I will say that Claude is good for some things, for straight research, looking up answers. ChatGPT has some advantages that it remembers things across chats. So if you're talking to Claude, it doesn't remember things you told it months ago.
So you don't have the ability to ask to save the information.
Correct.
They just share.
It's not a. It's
like
not
ChatGPT.
Correct. Yeah.
I can, on any occasion, whatever I asked, whatever I was looking up, to ask them to save that.
Remember this. No, I don't. It will not do that, and it won't reference it either. So, and that way, it's a little more impersonal. But it's great. It'll look things up, compare it for you, but it won't replace ChatGPT.
Yeah, we're getting really out there and
here's one right from YouTube. This is Robert. He's been trying to get in on the phones, but we were jammed up. He says, a hit and run in Boca. A woman on a bike in a crosswalk was hit. The driver was in a Cybertruck and left. They were caught in Miami, and they claimed the truck was driving itself, was in self-drive mode. Robert's asking what happens to the driver, and Donovan says, sadly, that is the go-to for many when they don't pay attention. Tesla has the data and can show if the car was actually driving itself. And he goes on to say there was an incident in Texas recently where the driver claimed the car ran off the road, but it was actually in driver-controlled mode, and he was on the phone not paying attention as they were driving. So I guess the question is, what would happen to the driver of a full self-driving car?
It's their responsibility. They have a driver's license. They're operating the vehicle on the road.
That's it.
Yeah, it's their responsibility. There's no getting around it.
They own the vehicle. It's their responsibility.
That seems to be a consensus then.
No, that's not just a consensus. It's the law.
It's the law.
It's a fact.
It doesn't mean people won't try to try people on. I remember during the sudden acceleration crisis, there was a lot of people whose kids dented the car up and said it was sudden acceleration. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to Anne Marie's text here.
Good morning, Anne Marie.
She says, "Good morning. There are times when one encounters smells in your car, like the lingering scent of a fried chicken dinner or a wet dog, or someone coming back from a concert with the aroma of herbal essences.
Shampoo?
Yeah. And you really don't want your car smelling like that forever. What is the fastest and or most effective way to get rid of a hopefully temporary unwanted smell in a car?"
Fire.
Well, I'm going back to the late 90s here when
burn it.
One of our technicians, who happened to be a very avid fisherman, had a package of frozen shrimp fall off his back seat when he had to hit the brakes, and it slid under the front seat.
That's the worst thing I can imagine.
And he didn't know it until days later when that smell started coming out. The only real solution that I've ever heard of for getting rid of smells in a car is what's called an ozone treatment.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
And you have to basically shampoo the seats, shampoo the carpet, and then they hook up a machine in the car, close the windows, and actually seal over it.
And it fogs it out.
And, it fogs it with ozone, basically, that helps kill all those odors.
But it doesn't.
Yeah, and sometimes
But
it works.
sometimes it does.
Thank you for saying that, because
sometimes
it works.
it works. And if you want to have some fun, go to Seinfeld and watch that particular episode
the odor,
of Seinfeld.
Right.
And it was impossible to remove that
the
smell.
valet.
But back in the day, as far as leaving something in the vehicle, I believe I may have been driving an Avalon at the time, and there was a pound of ground around left in the trunk.
Oh, that's like a dead body.
Oh, yeah.
For many, many days.
Yeah.
And
Yours? Wait, who left the ground meat in the car?
I am not at liberty
All right.
to divulge
Oh, he
that
did?
information.
That guy did?
Oh boy!
It's like
But
you had a corpse
because it
in
was
the garage.
because it was in the trunk. We didn't go into the trunk often, and it was because of my. What do you call me? A hound dog, or what is it? Because I smell.
Basset hound.
I'm so sensitive.
A beagle.
I can smell for miles. Well, the pound of ground round got away from me. Either that or I was just not using the vehicle after the pound of ground round was left in the trunk and we were using Earl's vehicle. I digress.
We're going to call you Trusty now.
Neighbors called the police.
Pardon me?
Neighbors called the police when they noticed a foul.
Yeah, it smelled like a human being was left in the trunk.
Just saying,
I
yeah,
thought I
that's
was back in Pittsburgh with my
the mafia?
Sicilian.
Yeah. Even MythBusters once tried to get a very horrible odor out of a car, and they were completely unsuccessful.
Yeah,
So
it's like just like the damp rid that you talk about.
Yep.
A weekend away. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And
Yep.
at this point in time, I was a poster girl for damp rid. Guess what? I'm not a poster girl for damp rid any longer. It just got away from me. It just got to be too much. I really needed to invest in the company.
Here's the ultimate cure for what the problem you're all talking about. You take it to a stupid car dealer whose used car manager is too lazy to drive the car. Right. So he'll sit in his desk and look out the window at the car, look in the book, and give you an appraisal number without it driving the car. And you can get rid of that car immediately. Then he's stuck with it.
Do you recall the Seinfeld episode where Jerry couldn't get the smell out of his vehicle?
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody that got in the vehicle smelled just like the vehicle.
That's right. He got on Elaine's hair.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I think it's mystery shop time.
Is it?
I think you're right, Rick. We've had a great time here this morning. We really hope all of you did. And for you new callers, it was quite profitable. So you want to tune in next week because we'll have more surprises.
Wait, so we're giving away $50 to all the new callers, regardless of...
Six. Yeah, new
All
callers. Right. And we had
Is that because we've reached parity?
We had a car salesman.
We had a car salesman.
And we doubled it. We gave him 100.
Really?
Yeah.
A unicorn.
Tell your friends.
At any rate, we do have a mystery shopping report coming up, and it's important that we hear from you and your grade for these mystery shops. And you can grade our mystery shop this morning that comes to us from Agent Lightning. And Agent Lightning, as a mystery shopper, went to Wallace Cadillac. That's Wallace Cadillac. But to vote, text us at 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
And Wallace Cadillac, by the way, is in Stuart, Florida, which is just north of West Palm Beach. It's still South Florida, and it's on the East Coast. Quite a few dealerships up there. Wallace owns all of them, I think, and that's Martin County, Stuart, Florida. And so we seem to pick on Bill Wallace a lot, but
you can't help it.
That's because he owns all the car dealerships in Stuart, Florida.
Are you saying he doesn't deserve it?
Oh, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of attention.
He's got too many dealerships, and you can't watch that many dealerships. He's got some good ones and some bad ones and some in between.
But at any rate, he's getting that recognition from Earl on Cars. There's a lot of people that are listening right now that are listening to our mystery shop from Wallace Cadillac in Stewart.
Speaking in the first person is if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived mid-afternoon, was greeted by Philip as soon as I approached the front door. He asked whether I was there to see anyone specific. I told him I had to come in. I'd come in some time ago to look at their electric cars. And for you folks that have not listened regularly to the show, Agent Lightning has been with us a long time, our undercover agent, and she's been in several dealerships multiple times. And it's shocking to us that they don't spot her. But the turnover of salespeople is so high that it's unlikely she will see somebody that she actually dealt with before. But she's in the computer because every car dealer logs the information about.
It doesn't go away.
And it doesn't go away, but they never catch her. And here we are again. She might have been there a couple times before. At any rate, I told him I'd come in some time ago, look at the electric car. Now it's time for me to pull the trigger. I explained that I had narrowed it down to either the, you pronounce the, do you say L-Y-R-I-Q?
I think it's
or
lyric.
Do you say lyric?
Lyric. And I uncapitalized it and wrote it like a regular word.
Yeah.
Then I looked it up to make sure I was right, and I wasn't. It is all capitalized.
And I always say this, a stupid name, lyric.
Lyric.
L-Y.
That means
R-I-Q,
it's a group of words for a poem or a song.
I don't know.
Lyric.
Anyway, it's a or a Tesla. So she was comparing the Tesla, and that it was ultimately going to come down to which one felt like a better deal. Now, that's a good way to, if you're buying a car, let them know you've been shopping, and what you have one or two other cars you really like. That makes them think that maybe I can, as we say in the trade, slam dunker. In other words, they're going to make a big fat profit. So that's what she did. She said, I'm thinking about Tesla, but I'll buy a Cadillac. Consider this lyric. I was having an extremely hard time reading the window sticker, so Philip, the salesperson, offered to print it out for me since we could not find it online through their website. It was a new 2026 Cadillac Lyric Luxury, and it had an MSRP of $62,550. That's low for a Cadillac, right? I mean, if you asked me to guess, I wouldn't have guessed Cadillacs had stickers that low. If there was an addendum, I couldn't see it through the dark glass, the tinted glass. So we don't know about that. Philip then had me come to his desk so we could make sure the vehicle was the best fit for me. I decided on the one that was on the showroom floor, and he saw that I had already test driven it before. So I said at the beginning of the shop, he knew I was there. I'm a mystery shopper, but he didn't know I was a mystery shopper. But he thought I was serious. I was honest with him and told him I was very torn because I love the luxury features of the Lyric, but Tesla's 0% financing and self-driving feature were very hard to ignore. He said that I could write the tax off my tax return, and I guess you could say that's the first lie. So it essentially worked out like 0% financing. So that's BS. I told him I disagreed with that. He then suggested Tesla would not be allowed to offer the self-driving feature much longer. Another lie, because there had been quite a few accidents recently. Well, I'm not sticking up for Tesla. There have been accidents, but percentage-wise, a lot fewer than for non-self-driving cars.
Yeah.
After he pulled up my information in his computer and verified everything, he excused himself to speak with one of his sales managers. I returned a good 15 minutes later, that's a long wait, with a sales worksheet. And that's the document that is non-legal. It's a piece of paper with a disclosure at the bottom. This doesn't mean anything. And none of these numbers are legal. Right. The top line was MSRP $62,550. They offered a $2,000 in total savings. They added a hefty $750 in government fees, and that's pretty high.
It's, when they do it, it sounds like they're lumping the actual tag fee with the tag agency stuff.
Yeah, and then they admitted to an $8.99 processing and dock fee, and the out the door was $66,212, $66,000. The first option was the car I really liked, and Philip said that their option would be for a vehicle that had been their option would be for a vehicle that had been part of their courtesy vehicle program, dealer loaners and demonstrators, and had 3,000 miles on it. He presented that sheet to me as well. Now that MSRP was on this one was $62,245. They took off 4,000, then added the same fees they told me about earlier, and I was $63,760 out the door. So that was higher.
No, that's a little better.
Yeah, about a little bit. While it was going, I was looking over the window sticker and noticed a feature called heated wiper park. Heated wiper park.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
I don't even know why it's relevant.
Heated wiper.
It's actually a feature where they have heaters in the windshield, so that your wipers don't freeze to the glass
when you're parked. When you're parked.
How did that happen?
Yeah. No wonder we don't know about it.
Just kidding.
I asked him. We live in Florida. I asked him whether he knew what it was. He said
January, you could have used it.
So I searched for it on Google, and there we go. The more or less brushed off. He more or less brushed it off, saying we don't have a need for that feature down here anyway, meaning South Florida's warm. To which I replied, well, I do visit up north a lot, so I possibly might. He then asked me what I thought about my options. I told him I did not think I would have a courtesy vehicle because you never know how people treat them, and I also really like the color of the one I chosen. He asked again what I thought, and I said, well, I really have to decide now because I love the luxury side of the LYRIQ, the Lyriq Cadillac. But I'm torn because of Tesla's 0% financing and self-driving. Is this the best offer you have? He accused himself again, said he wanted to speak with his manager to see what he could do. This is SOP. Let me talk to the manager before they go out the door. I waited about 5 minutes, returned with his manager, who presented another sheet to me. This one was for the new car without miles, and this time it was discounted 4,000, not 2,000. So there's a double discount because I'm out the door. So
all you got to do is ask.
Yeah. When they're going out the door, you give it the best shot. So as a salesperson, he was doing what he had to do, but it also was a confession that they were trying to slam dunk you when you came in. So they cut the discount in half. He said this would be the best price he could offer, and it probably was, and that he essentially could not be making any money whatsoever on the vehicle if he sold it to be at
Don't
that number.
say that, guys.
Yeah.
Who cares? They don't care.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't make people feel sad.
I hope the salesman that called the show earlier would admit that this is common. Salespeople say this. But
nobody believes it.
Yeah.
It might be true, but who cares?
Well, there's a minimum. Every dealership I know has a flat they pay. I mean, they're not going to ask a salesperson to sell a car for zero. So typically it's $100 or $200. It could be $500, depending on the salesperson.
Yeah, we don't know.
But he waited to earn my business that day. I thanked him, told him I would need to speak with my husband, and that would be that. So that's the report. We grade on the curve. We also have ChatGPT grading it, and he will tell us what he thinks his AI would recommend, and we'd like you to keep in mind that there are no perfect dealers. So A's really don't make sense. F's, I won't say there are no dealers.
There are some dealers.
There are some that ought to be in jail. So if they ought to be in jail, give them an F. If they're perfect, there's no A's out there. I mean, if I just got emotional, you could give them an A-, but we're not perfect, so don't even give my dealership an A if we shopped our dealership, which we do, but we don't do the report on the show. At least we haven't so far. We might do it. Anyway, let's hear your votes. You can text them to us, do them on Facebook, or do them on YouTube. We get a lot of good ones on YouTube, so I'll start with Rick.
All righty. I've got Tom Steckel says, D, if the salesman misrepresents competitor cars and hides a $300 electronic filing fee, can you really trust him? Want luxury? Go to JM Lexus. Johnny Z. Fradley, C, not a very good discount unless the car is pretty popular. Tim Gilliland says, fees equals D's.
Rhyming.
South Florida two-step, whoa, D-. $1,600 in fees, $4,000 over MSRP, even with $2,000 in savings. Why even mention a feature that a defroster could easily do, even with $4,000 off, still over MSRP because of junk fees? Brian Sidlatko, Cadillac has a salesman that lies. I'm shocked. D. Mark H. says, C, typical Florida two-step. Wonder how many days on the lot. Probably still sitting there. Joseph Kelleher says, C, without junk fees, grade would have been higher. Negan says, big F, sticker not viewable, lies. Surprise, did offer True Coat. And over here we've got Anne Marie says, lies, fees, higher price for the loaner car. Better offer out the door. The usual shenanigans. Annoyed by these games. D. That one is just a quick question.
That
I'll
was
get
all
to that
profanity.
in a moment.
I can't read that one on the air.
Bob from Maryland says, typical experience at a Wallace dealership. Multiple lies, long wait, fees. Tried to sell at an inflated price. Adds up to an F. Cram 1624 says, D, I'll sing the song out the door. F. And let's see, that's got us pretty caught up there. Myself, I still hate that comment of, oh, well, we're practically not making any money on this car selling it. Yes, they are. No dealership ever is going to sell a car and not make money or lose money because they got too many bills. We understand that as consumers. We're not stupid. So I'm going to give them a D because I think that just insults me as a consumer.
Man, so last night, or coming in, I'm thinking they did all right because I was mainly focusing on the fees. And but listening to you read the report again, it was way worse, especially the easy casual lies with the Tesla. Maybe it was just ignorance and he was just kind of riffing or whatever. But I didn't really think about that. And then when you think about it, they are South Florida. You're right about that. But they're like our dealership. We're on the periphery of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're a little bit farther out of that area, almost like in a semi-rural area.
Rural, yeah.
And so I think they have a different curve than we do down here. So they're getting a D from me. It's definitely worse than you should expect up in Martin County, Florida.
Nancy?
Okay. Transparency. I don't think you can apply that to this Bill Wallace dealership. And, whenever you hear we're not making any money, unless you've been on another planet, we know how inaccurate that is. And all of these fees, you know how I feel about that. So short and sweet, an F.
Okay. ChatGPT gave him a C-. And
well, he knows where he can go.
Interestingly enough, ChatGPT, as you said earlier, can make mistakes. And so when I fed the mystery shopping report in, he thought I was asking him to grade the mystery shopper. And
you see, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're talking about ChatGPT. We're talking about confusion.
That's how we're going to blow up the world,
not
man.
always believing what ChatGPT, AI.
He gave Mystery Shopper a B. So Agent Lightning.
Agent Lightning a B.
Good job.
The way she went through the procedure, I said, no. We're not talking about Agent Lightning. We're talking about the dealers. So
see, human intervention.
Yeah.
It prevails.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go along with. I'm like Stu. I come up with an idea of where I want to grade them. Then when I listen to all the other reports, I usually change my mind. So I was going to give them a C-. I'm going to give them a D. It was premeditated BS, and it was just calculated and just too rough.
Yeah.
Too rough. So Bill Wallace, I hate giving dealers I know. I was friends with a guy. As far as I know, I still am. We started in the business about the same time, and I knew his father.
Earl.
So, yeah,
Earl
Wallace, yeah. So
Uncle Earl.
Anyway,
I knew. Does it matter? I knew his dog.
What happens when these dealers acquire too many dealerships? People ask me, "Why don't you buy another dealership?" Because I can't run one well enough. And,
hard.
To have two dealerships, forget about it.
And remember that this was a little while ago, but one of Bill Wallace's dealerships, I think it might have been used dealers that we shopped, we did like a unanimous A across the board for the salesman on that place because they just they were the sort of person that I would love to deal with.
Yeah, we all got good spielkas when we did that one.
Exactly. That one was awesome. So
To all of you out there, thank you so much for tuning in to Earl on Cars. We so appreciate your company. And to the car salesman that called, please, next week we will make it profitable for you and your car sales people that you know, and even the owner of the vehicle, of the dealership that you're working for. Give us a call next week. We'll be right back here, 8 o'clock, Earl on Cars. Have a great weekend.